Proverbs 25, verse 2. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings to search out a matter. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 21. Prove all things. Hold fast to that which is good. The Third Testament, chapter 28, verse 73 and 74. This heavenly teaching I am bringing you today reveals to you many beauties and prepares you so that when you one day step in spirit before the righteousness of the eternal, you may withstand the wonderful reality that will surround you from this moment on. Receive my light, that it may illuminate your path of life. And on the hour of death, you may free yourselves from the clouding of consciousness. Then, in the moment when you cross the thresholds of the beyond, you will know who you are, who you have been, and who you will be. Shalom, shalom, family, and welcome back. This is Brother Maurice. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different than we've done on the last few teachings. We're going to talk about precepts of the Third Testament and the book of the true life. Now, this book of the true life, you may hear it called that, and you may also hear it called the book of true life. This book is a very important book, especially for this time. For the past couple of years, we've been studying out of the Third Testament. And when we would read through the Third Testament, at the end of the verses, you will find normally a set of numbers, a number followed by a comma, followed by other numbers. And we've always wondered what those numbers mean. We felt that these numbers were precepts, but we could never figure out how to truly use them. One thing that I love that the Father has been doing with us, as He has been deliberate in bringing us along a little here and a little there with the knowledge that He's been providing to us. And this has been outstanding because the Father wanted to make sure that He did not overwhelm us in our learning. There are several versions of the Third Testament. The first that you've seen that was displayed in the previous slide was the one that you can purchase on Amazon. And there are also a couple PDF versions. Here's a PDF version right here. And this is the one that I mainly come from. Now, one thing that this PDF version says, it says Compendium of the Divine Rallies from the Revelation Work, Libro de la Vida Verdadera. This means the book of life. It's talking about another book, family. And if we go down a little bit further, it says editor of the original Spanish edition, Libro de la Vida Verdadera, in 12 volumes. So we can see that there are actually 12 volumes. So now that we have this information, it's important that we understand what this is actually saying. Now, inside of your book of the Third Testament and my PDF, it has a table of contents. And within this table of contents, it gives us different chapters to look at, different sections and different chapters. Now, in the book that comes from Amazon, the Third Testament, there's a prologue. And if you read the prologue of this book on Amazon, it says, the present book contains a selected summary of verbatim quotes from the 12 volumes of the Divine Manifestations published in Mexico between 1956 and 1962 under the title Libro de la Vida Verdadera, which means the book of the true life. Did you catch that, family? The Third Testament is a selected summary of verbatim quotes. We're looking at a book of summaries that came from a much larger book, family. Now, I mentioned that I have a couple versions of the Third Testament on PDF. And I'm going to read what this says on one of the PDFs that I have. It says the contents of the verses of this book being the Third Testament, were chosen from the 12-volume work called the Book of True Life, and have been ordered by themes, resulting in a compendium, which is a collection that uses the original wording, but which offers the reader an introduction of more manageable size to the divine work. Did you hear this? It's telling us, family, that the Third Testament is only an introduction, because the Third Testament just consists of bits and pieces of a much larger work. Let's continue. It says the 12 volumes are made up of a total of 366 chronologically numbered teachings. Did you hear that? This book of True Life has 12 volumes, family, made up of 366 teachings. It says, although this book, the Third Testament, is arranged by topics, the teachings are subdivided by verse numbers to facilitate their identification and for easy comparison between translations made to other languages. However, they are also identified either singly or at the end of a block of verses taken whole from the 12 volumes of the Book of True Life by the original teaching and volume numbers for those who wish to expand their knowledge of the work. Did you hear this? This book that has the 12 volumes is for those who wish to expand their knowledge of the work, because the work of the Third Testament is an introductory work, or who wish to check the full context for citations they find to be of special interest. So, for example, family, inside of the Third Testament, when you come to the end of certain verses, you'll find a numerical citation such as what we see here, 365, comma, 4-5, which means teaching number 356, verses 4 and 5 of the original. I think about this because I'm glad the Father gave this to us the way that he did. We had the introduction to this book for a couple of years to give us time to get through the book and digest the spiritual teachings in this book. All the books that have come out are very important. And we need all of these books, family, to get a whole picture. Many people say, I have enough. The Father told me I need no more books. But these books give us a well-rounded picture to help us to become the person that the Father wants us to be, family. And like I said, the Third Testament is more on a spiritual level than the rest of the books. And now that we have this other book, the book of the true life, it gets more in depth in its understanding. So here I jump down to chapter number 35 in the table of contents. And we see table 35 talks about the power of thoughts, feelings, and will. And on the last teaching that we did, we talked about thoughts. And the next teaching that we will do, it will continue with thoughts. But now, because we have this other book, there's so much more that is available for our understanding. Because today, family, we have been led by Satan with our thoughts, with the music, with the video games, with sports, with TV, with the TV shows and the movies through entertainment, with the media. Everything, family, has been designed to drive the direction of our thinking. And it's important that we snatch it back, because your thoughts are important, because we are not material, we are actually spiritual, family. And Satan knows this, and that's why he's been leading us for the longest the way that he has. Now, in the Third Testament, chapter 35, verse 7 says, everything spiritual in the universe is a source of light, visible or invisible to you. And this light is power. This light is power, is might, is inspiration. The ideas, words, and works also give forth light, according to the purity and sovereignty they possess. The higher the idea or work is, the more delicate and subtle is its vibration and the inspiration that emanates from it. Although it is more difficult for the slaves of materialism to perceive it, nevertheless, the effect which the high thoughts and works have on the spiritual is great. Now we can get more information where we see 16:16, and we understand that 16 is the teaching number and 16 is the 16th verse, which means we can go there now to find more information. One thing that I want to read is from the Book of True Life in volume number 2, teaching number 31, because it shows what the Father is doing and what he has done. He says in verse 41, I have delivered many lessons to you, O people, some more profound than others. I speak to all of my children, to those who go in front and those who go behind. Beginners are always coming in search of this word, and as I did with you, I will begin by giving them the most simple teachings. When we started this journey, family, we had the Bible. And for me, and blessed by Yah, we were reading other books. We were reading the Gospel of the Holy 12, and we were also reading the Essenes Gospel of Peace. And from there, our learning really began to expand. And some of the things that we've seen, we were like, wait a minute. It started showing us a different father, a different character. Because we started to see and find a loving father. And there were so many more things that we found. And after that, the Father led us to another book, and then another book, and then another book. And he was slowly bringing us along so he could teach us more about him and also more about his ways. Now, there are 12 volumes to this book of the true life, or this book of life. And in these 12 volumes, you'll notice that they each have a table of contents. Now, one thing about this table of contents, it's different than what we have with the Third Testament, because the Third Testament gives us a title of what we can expect within those different teachings. Here it just says teaching 1. But there is further information, and we'll cover that shortly. But first, what I would like to do is take a look at this dedication in this first volume. And I want to read it to you. It says, "The commission entrusted with the completion of this divine work dedicates these books in the name of the Lord to all people of goodwill in the world who are inspired by the desire to attain the upliftment of their minds by studying the divine revelations and exercising the teachings of the divine master. Everyone who feels within himself the desire to live the teachings of the sixth seal received in this era of the Spirit of truth should make the most of the spiritual meaning contained in these books to the last drop. Then a plea will break forth from his heart to all mankind, and a sentence will sound the most delicate strings of the human heart. Love one another." Now let's go back, because it says everyone who feels within himself the desire to live the teachings of the sixth seal. We understand that the sixth seal has been broken. We also understand that we have Giara and Michael, and they are working during this time frame, because Giara, she is working with the angels of the fourth station, and Michael is working with the Erkadeshi, and we are working with them as the alliance of heaven during this time to help to open up the minds of the people. So there are a lot of things that are being done right now, family, that are spiritual, that must take place with our thoughts. Therefore, family, it's very, very important that we guard our thoughts. because it says, then a plea will break forth from his heart to all mankind. A plea will break forth from his heart. Remember, we're supposed to be kind to all people. We're supposed to have kind thoughts. And we must do this in order for this to break forth from the hearts of all mankind. It's important, family, that we love one another. But with this new teaching, we're about to learn even more on another level. Now, let's go back to the table of contents in volume 1. We can see that the teachings 1 through 28 are in volume 1. Now, there's a reading guide, and the reading guide, family, is located at the back of each of the volumes. So we can see the reading guide starts on page 313. And what I like about the reading guide, family, is the reading guide gives us a brief title of what is given in each of these teachings. So we can see in teaching number 1, it talks about the 3 eras, and that starts on verse 1. So now we can understand how to find things and how to navigate in this new book. Now, I can let you know, when me and Blessed by Yah jumped into these books, we were looking for one thing, but we found so many awesome things. We found ourselves getting off track because we're like, oh, look at this. Did you see this? Look at this. Did you see this? Because there's so many things in these 12 volumes that are going to help us. They're going to help us, especially spiritually, family. So with each of the teachings, we have a brief title of what to expect given in the verses on the far right corner. Now let's take a look at the different volumes. So this is a chart, and this chart gives us the volume and the teachings that are in the volume. And I also put down the number of pages that are inside of each of these volumes. Now, for those of you that are working with the Third Testament that came from Amazon, you'll notice that the Amazon Third Testament has roughly around 300 and something pages. But what do we see about Volume 1? Volume 1 alone has 320 pages. Volume 2 alone has 338 pages. Remember, the Third Testament, family, is just an introduction. When you look at volumes number 1 through 12 and you total up, you do a tally of the number of pages, we see that the book of true life consists of 2,796 pages. There's a lot of information there, family. A whole lot of information that's going to spiritually help each and every one that is able to get into these books. So this is the cover of Volume 1. So here we can see the Book of True Life, Teachings of the Divine Master, Volume 1, and it has teachings number 1 through 28. When we take a look at Volume 2, we can see it shows the teachings of number 29 through teaching number 55. Volume 3, teaching 56 to teaching 82. And if we jump down to volume number 12, we can see it's teaching number 393 to 366. Now, Let's go back to the Third Testament, chapter 35, verse number 7, that we mentioned a little bit earlier in the slides. And what we see here, it tells us, it says, everything spiritual in the universe is a source of light, visible or invisible to you. And its light is power, is might, is inspiration. The ideas, words, and works also give forth light, according to the purity and sovereignty they possess. The higher the idea or work is, the more delicate and subtle is its vibration and the inspiration that emanates from it. Although it is more difficult for the slaves of materialism to perceive it, nevertheless, the effect which the high thoughts and works have on the spiritual is great. So now we see 16, 16. So now we understand that is teaching number 16 and the 16th verse. So now, family, when we go to the Book of True Life in volume 1, we see teaching number 16. And when we read it, you see that it pretty much matches up with what it says in the Third Testament, chapter 35, verse number 7. So now, in order for you to get more context, it's up to you now to search the surrounding verses. So this is something you must remember. So sometimes you'll see just 2 numbers, something like this. Now here we have another way that you may see these precepts. Here we see in red, up at the end of the first line, it shows us teaching number 24, but it gives us a range of verses. It says verses number 15 to verse number 18. And as we read verse number 18, we see verse number 18 matches up pretty much exactly with what we see in the Third Testament, chapter 35, verse 11. But when we read those other verses, you'll see that you'll get more understanding. So I'm going to read what it says here for the Third Testament, chapter 11. It says, O mankind, you have neither considered, felt, nor lived the teachings of your master. But now let's get more context and let's read what's in teaching 24, verses 15 to 18. It says, when from your mind emerges an idea or a thought of light, in that manner it reaches its objective to fulfill its beneficial mission. If instead of kind thoughts, impure emanations surge from your mind, they will only cause harm wherever you send them. I say to you that thoughts are deeds, And as much, did you hear that? And as much as what? Are you reading what this is saying? Because this is very dangerous. Because you send your thoughts places as you have them. This is very dangerous. And that's why it's very important that you understand your thoughts. But you see how we're getting much more information here. And instead of kind thoughts and pure emanations surge from your mind, they will only cause harm wherever you send them. I say to you that thoughts are deeds, and as such, they remain written in the book which exists in your conscience. If your deeds are good or bad, you will receive multiplied what you wished for your brethren. But it is better to do yourselves some harm. It's better to do yourselves some harm than to wish it upon your fellow men. That is why during the second era I say to you, what you sow, you reap. For it is necessary that you be aware, of your experiences in this life. And that you remember that your harvest will give you back the same seed that you sowed, although multiplied. And now what we have from the Third Testament, O humanity, how you have neglected to meditate, feel, or live the teachings of your master. Now we understand why, because of the things that we do with our thoughts. Now let's take a look at the Third Testament, chapter 35, verse number 21. It says, at every moment, mental or spiritual vibrations emanate from you. But in most cases, you radiate selfishness, hatred, violence, vanity, and base passions. You hurt and feel when you are hurt, but you do not love. And therefore, you do not feel when you are loved. And with your pathological thoughts, you saturate the environment in which you live more and more with pain. You saturate the environment in which you live more and more with pain and fill your existence with discomfort. But I tell you, saturate everything with peace, harmony, with love. Then you will be happy. So what we see now, family, is this takes us to teaching number 16, verse number 33. So they only gave us the one verse, but what I did now was to look at the surrounding verses so I could get a better understanding of the context. And once I've done that, what did I see? I saw that there was more information. So I'm going to read verse number 31 and verse number 32 from the Book of True Life, volume number 1, teaching number 16. And it says, O men and women of the world who have forgotten in your sciences the only thing that will make you wise and happy. You've forgotten the only thing that's going to make you wise and happy. You have forgotten about the love which inspires awe. You've forgotten about the love which inspires awe. The love which does everything and changes everything. You live in pain and in darkness. For by not practicing the love which I teach you, you bring about your physical or spiritual suffering. In order to discover and understand my messages, first, you need to be kind. First, you need to be kind and humble of heart, virtues which exist within every spirit since the moment of their creation. But to feel the true elevated feeling of love, you need to spiritualize yourselves, cultivating your good sentiments. But you have wanted to have everything in life except spiritual love. And now it takes us back to the verse that we read in the Third Testament. So remember, family, when you see these numbers, please remember to take a look at the surrounding verses in order to get the context. Now, for those that don't have the Third Testament, that happen to just stumble along this video, the Third Testament, you can find this book on Amazon at this first link. And these links, family, will be in the description of this video. Now, for the Book of True Life, teachings 1 through 366, you can find this at this second URL. And from this second URL, it's going to allow you to download each individual volume. And for those that like to listen to the audio, there is a young gentleman that is on YouTube, and he is uploading these books right now. And then this third and fourth URL will take you to that link. Like I said, these links will be in the description. Now let's go to the second URL and let's take a look at where this book is located, where you can download the volumes. So when you click on the URL, it will take you here. You can see it shows volume number 1, and if you were able to scroll all the way down, you would see volume number 12. Now in the bottom center, you see there's a bar where you can scroll, and what that does is it allows you to scroll the pages of the book. Here it shows page 1 through page 320. Now let's say you go to this website. If you go to this website, family, and you would like to have the book read to you, in the bottom right-hand corner, there are headphones. If you click, or when you click on the headphone, it will give you another window down in the bottom. It will change your window in the bottom center. You'll see a play button. You'll also see a button to control your speed. And if you click on that button, you can slow the speed down or speed the speed up or speed the narration up. Now, once you've made that change, it's important that you go back and click on the headphones so that that change takes. Then we have a 10-second backwards and a 10-second forward. If you want to move, if you heard something and you just want to go back, you can quickly rewind 10 seconds by clicking there. And if you're someone from another country, you can also change to another narration language. Let's continue. Now, I mentioned that someone was uploading these on YouTube. And if you go and you search for the Book of True Life, you'll find this guy named James Nielsen. He has a playlist, and he's currently uploading these books. Right now, he has a total of 118 videos of the 366 videos. Now, in the very beginning, I read this because the Father was deliberate and in the way that he gave us this information. And he says, I have delivered many lessons to you, O people, some more profound than others. I speak to all of my children, to those who go in front and those who go behind. Beginners are always coming in search of this word. And as I did with you, I will begin by giving them the most simple teachings. So now the Father is expanding at this point and giving us more information. All right, family, I pray that you are able to receive this message and that you are able to utilize these tools, because this book is very spiritual and it's very important for the time that we're in. Because we are under spiritual attack, family. And it's important that we understand how to combat it with the tools that the Father has given to us. I love you, family. Shalom, shalom. And thank you for coming by.